Okay, so yeah, this is, I'm going to talk a little bit about the right man, woman, black, Asian, gay, blind, lefty, whatever, person for the job, and finding your place in a creative environment and finding the right person for your company. As John so nicely introduced me, I am Sheri Graner Ray. I am the studio design director for Shell Games. Shell Games has 2 offices, one in Pittsburgh. Our home offices are in Pittsburgh. We have 65 people at our home office. Here in Austin, we have 5 people. The reason we have an Austin office is I wouldn't move to Pittsburgh. So we have 5 here in Austin, and we are looking to grow, and that's all I'll say about that. So we'll be growing, and we're doing some very exciting, fun things at Shell. I started in the game industry in 1989. I started at Origin Systems as a writer and a designer on the lovely Ultima series that you saw. Only he didn't quite go as far forward as I worked on. I worked on 7 Part 2, and 8. So yeah, so Avatar and I kind of go way back. I'm the author of Gender Inclusive Game Design, Expanding the Market. The year I published that book, I also received the IGDA's Game Developer Choice Award for my work with community, specifically because I'm one of the co-founders of Women in Games International. I'm the co-founder of the Women in Dev Special Interest Group for the IGDA. I moderated their list for 10 years. I was executive director of Women in Games International for 7 years. So diversity in our industry has kind of been a crusade of mine from pretty much as soon as I started in the industry. When I took one look at the industry, and I love games, and I've always loved to play games, and I looked around and I couldn't figure out why there weren't more women making these games, because gosh, I was having such a great time, and I thought everyone else should, all the other girls should join me having so much fun doing this. So a lot of times, over the years as I've been talking about diversity, I used to have to try to convince this industry that diversity was important. The really good thing is, since we now have the whole entire social and casual games explosion with a 70% female audience, I no longer really have to fight that battle anymore. We all pretty much have come to understand that diversity is important. And as Patricia Vance so very succinctly said, if you want your product to reach a broad audience, then your workforce has to reflect that broad audience. We've shown again and again, it's been proven over and over, that having a diverse workforce produces better products, produces better team environments, and basically improves your bottom line. So fortunately, after all these years, I'm not having to fight that battle anymore. I'm not having to convince everybody that diversity is a good thing for the company. We all know diversity is good. Yay. The trouble is, the question I'm hearing now is, how do we get this? How do we get diversity? How do we get these people? It's this common theme I get when I'll go to GDC or I'll come to any of these kinds of gatherings, and somewhere somebody will grab me and say, Sheri, we would love to have more minorities at our company, but we don't get any of the resumes. All the resumes we get are from white guys. So how do we do this? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that. So when I'm trying to hire somebody, I tell people the story that the number one thing you have to do is recruit. Okay, this sounds really silly, right? Everybody has to recruit. Not so much in the game industry. What I tell people is when I want to hire a game designer, usually what I do is I can go to the supply cabinet, I can climb inside, pull the door shut behind me, and think, I'd like to hire a game designer. And when I come out, there'll be 5 people standing there handing me their resumes. I mean, all I have to do is think that I want to hire a designer, and they're going to show up, right? Well, guess what? Those 5 people standing there handing me their resumes are not going to be minorities. They're going to be probably 5 guys handing me, 5 white guys, 5 white able-bodied guys, white able-bodied straight guys, white able-bodied straight young guys. And that's what we're going to get, and they're going to be standing there with their resumes. And it's funny and it's a joke that we don't really do this, but really, truthfully, it's really very close, because what will happen is, get this thing to work, I get unsolicited resumes every single day. Every single day, I will open my email, and there will be some resume in there from somebody. Oh my God, I heard about you guys, you're the best in the whole world, please hire me, please hire me. Yeah, right, but put this aside. But suddenly, I need to hire a designer, and I need a designer yesterday. And so what do I have to do? All I have to do is open up my email, right? And there's those resumes. They're all just sitting right there. They come into me free. It's not just me. This is the whole industry. This is how the whole industry does this. As soon as we have, an opening, we just have to open up our email, and there's going to be resumes in there. So we just pick from those because, oh my God, we're in a hurry and it's crunch, and we got to get this out, and they want something for E3, and we got to have this now. Or as our buddies Bert and Ernie there, or somebody knows somebody, and it's their buddy, and they, this guy come here, and they bring him in, and it's just easy. Great, good, put him at a desk, we're ready to go, let's roll. This is how our industry typically recruits. And now, of course, the HR people say, oh no, but we do recruit, we really do recruit. And I'll say, yeah, I'm sure you do. Game Dev Magazine, right? Yeah, oh yeah, we put ads in Game Dev Magazine. Gamma Sutra? Oh yeah, put stuff out on Gamma Sutra too. Yeah, GDC, oh yeah, we always have a big booth at GDC, get tons of resumes. Have you ever looked at the audience for these things? How many times have you been to GDC and seen a line at the women's restroom? Doesn't happen. It's one of the few places, there's no line. So these are not really great places. Because if you're trying to diversify your candidate pool, then you have to advertise in places where they have a diverse audience, right? You can't just keep going back to these same places and putting your ads out there because you're just going to get more of the same. So what do we need to do? We need to start looking at recruiting in new channels. We need to start going to new places. We need to start recruiting people who understand fun. That's the first thing you know. Where can I go where there are people who understand fun? The list is long. There's all kinds of places you can go besides Game Dev Magazine, Gamma Sutra, and GDC. Now, those are good places, but if we really want to reach out and get as broad a pool, because frankly, really what we want are the best people possible, right? To get the very best people possible, we have to cast as wide a net as we can, get as big a candidate pool as we possibly can. That means we have to start looking at other places to recruit. These are new slides too, so come on. Go forward here. Number 2, examine your criteria. How many times have you seen these things in ads, right? Every single ad out there. The best one up there, the very best one up there, 5 years proven game design experience. That's the good one. Do you know why? What did the numbers look like 5 years ago? 5 years ago, 11.5% of the audience, of the workforce was female, 2% were black, 2.5 were Hispanic, 7.5 Asian, 5.4 GLBT, 13% disabled, and 10% over 50. What does that mean? That means 5 years ago, this is what our industry looked like. So what do you think? If you're looking for somebody with 5 years experience in actual game industry experience, what are you going to get? You're going to get a white, male, heterosexual, able-bodied. That's what you're going to get, with average age of 31. Yep, that's who you're going to get. Because your candidate pool from 5 years ago is not as diverse, even as it is today. So you've got to look at expanding your criteria. You've got to look for skills that can transfer, baseline skills that can transfer over, that then you can train and teach in the specifics of the job that you want them to do. So again, places you can look. I tell you what, I have had 2 absolutely dynamite world builders come out of architecture school. Brilliant. I've had 2 of the best designers I ever hired had philosophy degrees. My dad used to tell me philosophy degrees were only good for producing more philosophy degrees. No, I had 2 designers, absolutely brilliant philosophy majors. So that's why I said liberal arts. So yes, you can look at other places, look for transferable skill sets. It's incredibly important. So this is the big one. Examine your interview process. So, how does it usually work? You send in your resume, you get a phone call, they bring you in and they talk to you, right? And they say, we really want to see you, right? So you show up on the day of the interview, and then what happens? Well, the first person they have you talk to is they have you talk to like the producer, right? And then they bring in some of the artists, right? And then they bring in the design team. Then they bring in the hey, wait a minute. And the really bad thing is, if you've been on the other end of those interviews where they're like, oh yeah, we got a candidate coming in today, I think we've got the 10:30 to 11:30 slot. What are you told? See if you like them, right? Just see if he's a fit. See if this person's a fit. See if you like them. What does that mean? That means see if they're just like you. So, see if you like this person. See if they're just like you. And so what that means is, this is who gets hired. Because you know what? When I walk into that interview, I don't look like those guys. I might look like their mom, but I don't look like those guys. We all tend to want to hire people that are very much like ourselves, or we want to friend people who are very much like ourselves. So if your team is not given any other instructions than just see if you like them, they're basically going to hire people just like themselves. And that's how we end up with homogeneous teams. That's how we end up with teams that are just all exactly alike, is because your interview process is dragging you through all of these people, and all they've been told is find out if you like them. Find out if they're just like you. So we need to make sure that we're educating our team when we're bringing this person through. Make sure we educate them. We're not looking for somebody like you. We've got you. Find somebody who's got the skill set for you. So look at these things, educate your team, and the bottom line is be willing to hire outside your comfort zone. Be willing to hire the skill set, not somebody who's just like you. So basically what we're saying, recruit in new places, open up your criteria, reconsider what your interview process is. These are the first 3 steps we can do to moving towards diversifying our workforce. That's it.